Welcome to another episode of Locked On. For today's episode, the Phils win again. They take down the Angels behind three big home runs, two of which from Trea Turner. We'll talk about that in today's episode, how they win Game 2, and also what does this big home month that's lead baseball by the Philadelphia means for the team forward. All that in today's episode of Locked On Philly.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for checking us out. Locked On Phillies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen to more of my content on 97.75 The Fanatic Radio here in Philadelphia, NBC Sports Philadelphia on the television, both of those in the Philadelphia market, of course. Two credentialed Philadelphia media member, years, your host of Locked On Phillies, all that good stuff. That's enough about me, though. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, and subscribing to YouTube. That really helps us here at Locked On and helps me significantly. And it's free, it's easy, and it gives you notifications when new episodes are posted. That's all it is. You just basically hit a button that says, yeah, find me when new episodes on Phillies get posted, you'll get more Locked On Phillies fed to your YouTube feed. And it helps me out significantly. So it's a win-win, right? Really appreciate anyone who's going to do that and everyone who already has. Now, let's jump into today's episode. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I do let you know today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the Fed Sleeper Pick 6, and you win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. I'll tell you more about Sleeper coming up. But yes. The Philadelphia Phillies, they won again last night. Continue to increase in the National wild card race. They take down Los Angeles Angels by a score of 6-4, and it wasn't like the easiest win. I mean, the Phillies offense honestly didn't look all that great yesterday. There was where they were getting two hits, and they had given up like 7-8 to the Angels, and they were tied at 3-3. Because the two hits that the Philadelphia Phillies started the game with were hits by Trea Turner and Bryce Harper, both of which ended up out of the yard. So it felt really good to see that. But it's a weird start to last night's game. The finish was fun, though. The bullpen very good. We have to talk a little bit about Taijuan Walker. Let's get into how the scoring broke down, and we'll get into scoring and everything like that. Renifo started out with an RBI single in the first inning. Taijuan Walker struggled the first, just like everyone's been doing for the Phillies for what feels like forever. Once again, they'll score first. Phillies are down. They have to find a way to back this, that, and the other thing. We've seen this in this movie before. Walker works out him. He didn't have his best yesterday. He's looking more and more goal to get the ball in a postseason series, but he battled through and. He ended up getting the win, so he's got 14 wins on the year. I mean, he finds ways to get wins even when he's not his best. But the first, the Philadelphia Phillies battled back as they're known, and it was Trea Turner taking a low breaking ball from Lucas Giolito and hitting the left field seats. Only 374 feet, not like a bomb, but got out of there 1-1. You're like, okay, nice to see Trea Turner back. Nice to see the Phillies still hitting homers. It's been a great month from homer-wise, as we'll talk more about coming up. That was awesome to see. More from Trea Turner later. An RBI single by Drew, fourth for the Angels to make it 3-1. And then the Phillies, I tell you this, listen to Locked On Phillies, you get this information, you're not worried when the other team scores, because I'm going to tell you all year long, the Phillies have been really good at answering. When a team scores, they score back. And in the bottom of the fourth, Bryce Harper hitting a home run to center that was smoked. 111.9 exit. That's a video game exit velo. That's like you get a fastball down the middle in MLB The Show and you use your power swing and your guy's got 99 power. Well, Bryce Harper did that in real life. I thought the baseball imploded on impact. Like, I didn't know if they could rule it on, because I thought the baseball might not exist anymore. That's how hard he hit this ball. It's out. It scores Trea Turner. Who would have thought Trea Turner's on base? It scores Trea Turner. It's 3-3 now in the fourth, and from then on, the Phillies would take control of the game, because in the bottom of the fifth, Trea Turner would come back up, and Trea Turner would homer again on a low breaking ball from Lucas Giolito. It was nearly identical first home run. And just great work, Turner, to continue to slug the baseball. The Phillies take the 3 lead, and then it got a little dicey, right? Matt Strahm comes in, and he was trying to work out of a situation and gives a run in the 7th. Then Jeff Hoffman comes in, gets out of that, and then Gregory Soto comes in the 8th, and he gets up down inning, and Craig Kimbrell comes in the 9th, and he's closed stuff down. Not where Brandon Marsh has an RBI score Alec Bohm in the bottom of the 8th for a nice insurance run. Like, that was much needed. Felt much better about that. Kimbrell locks down the safe. And the bullpen was a really good part of the game. Like, I really liked what I saw from Hoffman, who I'm starting to try more and more in big spots. He came in a big spotlight and worked jam in relief. Soto had a really good appearance last night. Now, he's been up and down this year, but remember, he's been an all-star multiple times. He still has the ability to be really good. He hasn't been consistent this year, but the ceiling is high with his stuff and his velocity. I really loved what I saw out of Kimbrell once again. Kimbrell was saved number 21 this season in this one. Air business there. It's there. And it was solid, the bullpen. But the real star of the show is Trea Turner. I know Bryce Harper mashed the baseball. If there were no stands, Bryce Harper's baseball might have gone farther than Turner's home runs combined, because Bryce Harper's baseball was still going up when it left the yard. It was just slow trajectory and hit soaring hard. That thing rolled forever. You ever see a professional golfer hit like a stinger where it just like rises and takes off? That's almost what Bryce Harper's ball looked like. But Trea Turner's 2 home runs were awesome. You go ahead and look at the box score for Philadelphia Phillies, and all you see is Trea Turner 2 for 3, a walk, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 2 home runs. He's up to 255 now. It's just, he's starting to figure it out. This is the Trea Turner that you paid for. This is the Trea Turner you thought you were getting. He made a big play early on in the game to save a situation where the Angels could score more runs. It was defensively. He makes the last out of the game with the ground towards stop that Craig Kimbrell that wasn't his throw, but Bryce Harper dug him out of base. I mean, Trea Turner's just unbelievable, right? It's almost unfair to look at now, because if we had seen him come in and do this, we would have said, okay, well, that's exactly what we thought. But after months and months of seeing a guy struggle and not hit the ball at all, not belongs playing for this team, and in the deepest slump of his career, and just like, this guy can't figure it out, and what did we pay for? And then the defense has been rough. It's also unfair to see him just like flip a switch and become this good all of a sudden. And it all back to the standing ovation, everything there. I know we've talked that multiple times, but Trea Turner went from being almost unplayable to an all MLB shortstop in what feels like a period of a week. Maybe it was a period of a couple weeks, but it's awesome to see that. And if you feel a lot better about your $300 million year investment, if you're John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski as well, watching what Trea Turner. And if this team has Trea playing like that, I'm already good without Trea Turner being. If they get him playing like this in the postseason, I don't know who knocks him out. I'll say that right now. Like, you look at how the Braves are. You look at how good the Dodgers are. They've gotten full seasons out of a lot of their stars. You've gotten 3 weeks out of Turner, and you're still this. And you can see good they can when Trea Turner's playing well. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that the Phillies are now automatically better than the Braves or Dodgers or anything like that. No. That would be hasty to say. I'm just saying, in a playoff series, if Trea Turner plays this, the Phillies are going to be a tough out for even the best in baseball. And that makes it pretty darn good. So you'll love to see that way. Walker's final line on this game while we're looking at the box score. 5 2/3 innings pitched, allowed 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, only 6 Ks. Hasn't been the best effort as of late. We'll need to see a couple more good starts from him as the season winds down. But with Wheeler and Nola making starts, and Ranger Suarez hopefully come back, and we'll see Mike Renzen ignite and see if he can go ahead and put together a good start. Like, hopefully you feel good enough about your other guys, not too worried about the Taijuan Walker. Just that's the one little worry I have from last night's game is let's figure out what's going on with Taijuan Walker. That and the fact Jason Realmuto was 0 for 3. He needs to figure stuff out. But hey, a nice win, Phillies over the Angels. They've won 6 of their 11. I believe. Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 of their last 7. I was correct in thinking that. So let's see if they can keep the streak going. First pitch to tonight's game, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Away, Phillies Angels game 2. You can listen to every pitch of the Philly Town radio broadcast of that on the Sirius XM app. Go to the SXM app, search Phillies, and coming up, we're going to pregame and talk about how the Phillies can make it 7 of their last 8. We'll discuss as we continue. Locked on Phillies. First, though, I want to tell you, my friends over at Sleep. Do you think Trea Turner can follow up his 2 home run performance with another home run tonight against Tyler Anderson, who's going to mount for the Angels? Well, I think it's possible. Bryce Harper could do it. I think Kyle Schwarber could do it. I mean, the Phillies are hitting home runs like nobody's business. This is the perfect time to jump on Sleeper and take the over on Phillies players' home runs. And on Sleeper, you can swing for the fences with up to 100 times payout. All you have to do is choose 2 or more players that you like, and more or less on their stat categories like homers, strikeouts, hits. There's plenty on there. You get right, and you could win big. It's a super easy app to use. You just select the player and the stat and the over or under, and you run down. And you can select up to 8. You can select as few as 2. It's super easy, and it's even better the less you pick now. Well, you can pick even more and even more money, but now less can be as valuable because it's introduced dynamic payouts. So it's basically a multiplier for each player projection. If a player's not projected to hit a home run and you pick them to, you get more money for it. Makes perfect sense, right? Sleep the ultimate fantasy baseball app, daily fan app. So go ahead and check it out. The payouts can get you higher payouts even than we're talking about before this, right? You want to sign up anyway because use promo code Locked On and you'll get up to $100 match in your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. So go ahead and waiting for. Check out Sleep today. All right. Let's get to game 2 of Angels against 3 p.m. First pitch Philadelphia tonight. Phillies Angels. You can listen to every pitch of the Phillies hometown radio broadcast of that game on the Sirius XM app. Just go to the SM app and search Phillies. The Phils more favored this game than they were in yesterday's game because Lucas Giolito, better pitcher than the guy there tonight. Phils are minus 60 on the money line. They're a 61.9% win according to ESPN. And the first thing I'm looking at in this one is the pitching matchup. Michael Lorenzen takes the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's got a 7-8 record this year with a 3.69 ERA and a 1.12 WHIP. He's going to face off against Tyler Anderson, who's got a 5 record this year. 5.35 ERA. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. A 1.5 WHIP, allowing a base runner and a half an inning. Not that you can allow half a base runner. You get what I'm saying. Over 2 innings allows 3. You can do the math. He's thrown 117 2/3 innings, and he's walked 52. Like that's the huge difference. Michael Lorenzen has thrown 181 in 2/3 innings. He's only walked 36. You got to be patient against Anderson because he's had control issues. Both of these guys have kept the ball in the yard very well. Anderson's only allowed 13 homers. Lorenzen's only allowed 15 homers. Now, Citizens Bank Park, you hit him out, and this is not a great time to face the Phillies. So maybe you're not looking at a lot of home runs tonight. You're also not looking at a lot of strikes. 98 strikes for Lorenzen in 101 plus innings. 100 strikeouts in 117 innings. So be patient. Work the count. These aren't really big strikeout guys, and Anderson's not really going to get you like that, but he doesn't really have great stuff, and he hasn't had a great year. I mean, you should take advantage of him. Now, he's a lefty, so you could see a weird lineup for the Phillies. We actually have the lineup, so let me go ahead and peek at what the Phillies are employing. Harper's going to lead off in the field, so he's back in left after getting a day at DH with Bryce Harper playing first base. Turner's going to bat second, play shortstop. He better play after last night's game. Castellanos in right field, batting third. Bryce Harper back to the DH spot, getting that day off from fielding and cleanup. Bohm's batting fifth. He'll be first base. Ramito's catching. He'll be batting sixth. Adolfo Castro gets to start second base. They're sitting Bryce's spot with a lefty on the mound. I know. I don't agree with it. That's what they're doing. Rodolfo Castro at second base. Edmundo Sosa is going to play at third base at eighth. Johan Rojas at center. So Brandon Marsh, off day. Bryce Ott, off day. That's how Rob Thomson likes to employ his team against lefties. When you look at their career against Tyler Anderson, only 2 guys or 3 guys have really seen him all that much. Trea Turner is 5 for 10 against him on his career, 500. That's a sign. Bryce Harper is 4 for 8 against him in career, 500. He also has 2 runs against Tyler Anderson. JT Realmuto, career 3 for 10, 4 strikeouts, no home, no RBIs against Anderson. 300 is not a bad mark, but it's not as good as what you're seeing for some of the other guys in the lineup. So I worry about JT's ability to break out tonight. The Angels lineup is very similar. Like Shanuel, Ohtani, Drury, Mustafa, Rengifo, Hoppy, Moniak, the 2 Phillies prospects back to back. Hunter Rowe and Randall Grichuk is the lineup in order there. And their career versus Lorenzen. I mean, the only guys that have really seen him all that much, Moustakas is 4 for 7 career against them, so you're going to want to watch out for the Angels' third baseman tonight. And Hunter Renfroe's 3 feet career against him, hitting 400 there. Again, and not worried. No, Shohei over 3 career against Michael Lorenzen. Ohtani, after roping one nearly off Taijuan Walker last night up the middle, was quiet last night. A couple of outs. A walk that wasn't intentional until, well, I guess it was because they sent him the first 3-0 count, but he knew they weren't giving him anything. Ohtani was quiet. Can they keep him quiet the series? That's a big question. I don't really know whether they can. I hope they can, but that's still the guy you want to avoid, right? You can see what you want about the other players on the Angels having success against Lorenzen, but you got to avoid Ohtani. You really, really do. And last night, they did a solid job of that. You're not keeping quiet the whole game. Gave up a single. He was 1-4, I believe, was what his line was last night as far as at the plate. That's about as good as you can ask against Shohei Ohtani. I imagine he's going to go yard at some point in the series, but he doesn't have to. You can keep him off. You can work around him. You could tell by last night's game that Angels doesn't really have a lot side of Ohtani to create power or anything like that. So go ahead and bear down and work around him if you need to, but bottom of the zone, outside edges, don't give him anything good to hit. And if you walk him, you'll live to fight another day. I really like the Phillies matchup up against this Angel team, even though Stein and Marsh are getting an off day. Maybe you'll see him pinch hit later, but it should not matter. 2 of your better hitters are sitting. Maybe I'm trying to convince myself by telling you that. I would play those guys, but clearly Rob Thomson doesn't want to against the lefty. Listen, I don't know, man. It's his decision to make. He's the manager. I think the young should play, even though it's a lefty matchup. And maybe if they lose, we're sitting. Well, what is Rob Thomson doing sitting these guys? But they've built up a little bit of a cushion in the wild card race right now in the standings for the Phillies. As we take a look for it, they are still in the top wild card seat. They're 4 games above the Cubs. They're 4.5 over the Diamondbacks, who are in the final wild card. You feel pretty good about as we play the final 2 games of August ahead until the final month of September. Plenty of slip ups. So the Phillies need to continue to win games, but just I don't know. They're consistently the better team than any of the teams trying to chase them down. So I feel good about all that. Just go out and win tonight and make Robinson look smart, please, Phillies. I'm begging you. One more time, tonight's game is at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Phillies, Angels. Michael Lorenzen versus Tyler Anderson. The offense needs to go for the Phillies and cover up bottom of the lineup that's not typically guys who play. And you can listen to every pitch of the Phillies hometown radio broadcast as they look to do just that on the SiriusXM app. Just go to the SXM app and search Philly. Coming up, I just want to have a conversation about the month the Phillies are having it as far as home runs are concerned and what it says about this Philadelphia team. What's that as we wrap up today's Locked On Phillies. All right, yes, the Phillies are leading Major League Baseball in home runs in the month of August as a team. They've hit 52. They have 2 more games. If they hit 3 more home runs in those next 2 games, so tonight and tomorrow night, and I mean 3 more home runs, it's doable, but it could also happen. I mean like a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. But if they hit like 3 or 4 more home runs, they're in like the top 15, 16, 17 months of hitting home runs in the history of baseball by a team. They're not going for the record. That's the first thing I thought about was, okay, well, if they're that close, who's hit the most? He's back in August of 2020. 74 home runs in a month. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's a far cry from what this year's Yankees team is doing, but The Phillies could hit it 2 home runs the rest of this month. That biggest month in franchise history is 20 less than the Yankees did that month. That's preposterous. But look at just the Phillies. And here's what it says. It says this team. This is a confirmation of the way I approach baseball and the way I've been talking to you about this team all year. Have there been points where the Phillies look like they haven't been able to hit the ball out of the yard? Yes. I mean, we've had that conversation on this podcast, man. I've talked about it on the radio. I've talked about it on TV. I've conversation with friends. Why are they not hitting home runs? Is Harper's power come back? Is Turner broken? This, that, and the other. Where does the power come from besides Kyle Schwarber? I get it. At that time, that was a conversation worth having. But with all the problems for the Phillies this year, I say, look at the ceiling of this team. Look at the names on the roster. More often than not, those guys will end up figuring it out and have a good year. And I still believe they're capable of it. You've seen these guys before. Whether that's capable, like if you're JT Realmuto coming out of a slump, if you're Trea Turner coming out of a slump, if you're Kyle Schwarber hitting 40 home runs, if you're Aaron Nola or Zach Wheeler having a string of solid starts. I know I don't have a lot of confidence in Aaron Nola. This is not like defend these guys. They're fixed. And not my guarantee that they're going to be a hitting team the rest of the way, slugging the ball like I'm just saying like this team is capable of this. There are probably 24 other teams in baseball that are not capable of doing what the Phillies are doing right now. That doesn't mean the Phillies are in the 5 teams in baseball. It's just that like their ceiling is putting them. And I believe that the course of a baseball season, enough time for a team to figure. And the postseason is not long. You have to win. The Phillies last year won, like 11 games in the postseason that came within 2 of winning the World Series. Like, you just have to be good for a 15, 20 stretch. The Phillies just did that run-wise over the month of August. Like, if you don't think this team can ball out of the yard, you're insane. Now, can they continue to do it? Will they be this hot in the postseason? Like, that's the ultimate question. But this is the way I consume baseball. I figure out what I think a team's ceiling is. How good can this team be if everyone's playing well? And how likely is it that all those guys are playing well? And that's how I look at the team. I think the Phillies ceiling is insanely high when everyone's playing. I think they have enough veterans and proven players that they will get consistently good play from most of them when the chips are down, and that could lead to another deep playoff run. It definitely will lead to the top wild card spot, and it will do a playoff berth and everything like that. So this was like this month slugging the baseball is a big example of why when they're in power struggles, I look at the names. It's going to play out where you'll see them hit the ball out of the yard. Same thing with the pitching, the bullpen, all that other stuff. What you believe them to be in a large sample size is what they're most likely going to turn out to be. So it's good to see that from the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be even better to see that continued over the September and just like read over. I don't want to see a power outage and just say, well, we'll have August. Like, you do want to see them continue to do not this, but similar to this pace as you push closer to the postseason. Don't want them peaking too soon when it comes to power. But last year, the Phillies survived postseason on the long ball. This year, they've once again proved they're capable of that. And they will, but that they're capable. And that's been a lot of teams in baseball today. That feel really good. Still 2 more days. We'll see what they end up with in the month of August, and we'll talk about where that puts them as far as all-time home runs in a month by a team. Hey, who knows how close they can get to? Well, second place is the only realistic, and that's not. But you get what I'm saying. It's been a fun month for Phillies at the dish, and hopefully a night for the Phillies at the dish. As Tyler Anderson was good. Hopefully another. This victory shirt's really getting worn out, but I'll continue to wear it as long as the Phillies keep winning. Hopefully I have it on for tomorrow's episode, but that's all for today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Thanks so much for checking us out. Appreciate it. Make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube Locked On Phillies, part of the Locked On Pod Network, your team every day. I'll talk to you next time, next episode of Locked On Phillies.